and big-time points being put up. We had big-time points also this past weekend over on the CFP. The first round, when you see it, the games, they weren't close. No. 14-point win for Texas. I don't know what 42 minus 17 is off the top of my head, but that's not close either. 28-point win for Penn State. I'm not good at quick maths. 2 plus 2 is 4, minus 1, that's 3. Quick maths. That's the only quick math that I'm able to do. And it's just setting up for the quarterfinals of the CFP, where we now will bring in Chip Patterson, chapping in with us this morning. And Chip, me personally, watching the games this weekend, I did not like the blowouts. Do you take issue with it?
I was disappointed, Zach. I don't know if I was surprised, because if we think about this, we took a system where teams that were ranked lower got higher seeds. Of course, I'm talking about Arizona State. I'm talking about Boise State. I don't think that we should not give them access to this championship, but I think a fast pass to a top seed created imbalance in the bracket that was even further exposed here, because it meant that good teams that were ranked 3rd and 4th in the committee's rankings, ended up not only playing in first-round games, but hosting those first-round games. So consider this situation. You are one of the last teams in the field. And so not only are you having to play against an opponent that is even better than it would have been if this thing was seeded as it is ranked, but you're having to do it on the road in hostile environments, in hostile conditions. And so I just think that what this bracket has done is it has increased access to the college football playoff. Yes, we do have more teams, but I think it has decreased parity. I think it is less likely that we see a Cinderella story in this 12-team playoff. I think it is less likely that we see some kind of miracle run, because the fact that we are asking these lower-seeded teams to play tougher matchups and to play them on the road makes it even less likely that they're going to win, and even more likely of the opposite, that they're just going to get the floor wiped with them, as we saw in these playoff games.
So what's the fix? If I said you're in charge, you can set this up, how do you want to see it go?
The first thing I would do is I would match the seeds to the rankings. I would not do any of this fast pass to a top seed. And frankly, I might think about eliminating conference championship games. I know the conferences aren't going to go with this. And then we would also get to start this playoff just a little bit earlier. I think the fact that we are going to drag this thing all the way out to January 20th is really going to create some college football playoff fatigue. And I think that January 1st has forever been college football's day. And now we are going to get to celebrate it with 3 games on New Year's Day, 1 game on New Year's Eve, like we're used to. But Zach, those are just quarterfinals. That's just the Elite 8. And so now from number 1, I would address the seeds and the rankings. Number 2, I would change the calendar. And also, if you eliminate those conference championship games, then we create a scenario where we're not having to manipulate the seeds and the rankings to try and preserve them. If we are really just going to line these teams up and we really just want to pick the 12 best teams and seed them appropriately, then we don't necessarily need that last 13th data point. So eliminate the conference championship games, allow the conferences to determine who gets that conference championship access into the playoff, and then after that we would be able to address the calendar.
Chip Patterson for College Football President 2025. I'll start the campaign for you right here, loud and strong, because I agree with everything you said. I'm wondering how you feel about this. Texas and Penn State, they are double-digit favorites over the teams that got buys into the quarters. It just seems like it's a continuation of the things we've been talking about. This is not how it should be for a 12-team playoff.
Right, now we're going to get more blowoffs in the quarterfinals, right? I mean, if you're going to have blowouts, can we at least just get them in 1 round instead of having to bleed over into the entire first 2 weeks of the playoff? Now, I don't want to entirely discredit the opportunity that is there for Arizona State and for Boise State. Boise State particularly, they are going to be playing that game in the Fiesta Bowl, the same place where Boise State announced its presence to the world with an upset of Oklahoma back at the end of the 2007 season. So I recognize that if Ashton Jeanty comes out here and as the Heisman runner-up has one of those performances like, oh, Zach, you remember Vince Young coming out there with one of those this Heisman should have been mine type performances, well then, that would be incredible for the college football playoff in terms of me having to eat my words. But I look at these matchups, especially with the way that Penn State not State performed against Oregon, that showed me the quality of this Nittany Lions team. That showed me that Penn State is rightly favored by double digits. And so I'm not expecting a great shock the world moment for the Boise State Broncos.
Yeah, we bring up the odds to win the national championship. You don't even see Arizona State or Boise State up here on the graphic because it would have made it too difficult to put them up here because they are not even close at all. Chip, I'm going to give you the opportunity to either A, stand on business and be 10 toes down, or you can choose to waffle and flip, because my question to you is, who is your pick to win the national championship? We've seen the first round of games. I know you first said Oregon. Are you going to be TTD, 10 toes down with it, or are you swapping?
I say it with my chest, Zach. I stand on business.
Yeah.
I am sticking with the Oregon Ducks. And look, I like the fact with this pick that they are getting what I think is going to be the toughest matchup that they've got left in this bracket right here. Let's get it over with. Let's play Ohio State right now. Let's not risk any further injury. Let's not risk any further fatigue, because I think the winner of Ohio State-Oregon is going to win the national championship. And I think that the Ducks are going to be right there ready with a game plan to go and get the Buckeyes, because while Ohio State did a great job of looking like the team that so many wanted to see all season long and just absolutely stuffing Tennessee into a locker, I still think that Oregon knows what it has, and I think that Oregon is going to beat Ohio State, and then the bracket just opens up, and then it's one by one by one, and the Ducks finish the year 16-0.
Okay, you heard it. I'm just proud of you. I'll give you the round of applause. It's even further solidified why I will vote for you for college football president if we had such a thing, because you're sticking with it. You can stick with even more Chip over on the Cover 3 podcast. You can catch him and the crew as they talk, and we go deep into January with still the continuing conversation of college football as we will eventually crown a national champion.